Good evening, students. How are you and how are you doing? This is a course called Project Management from Gelila International Seminary. My name is Obsa Alemayehu. I'm going to give you a course called Project Management. I hope we're going to discuss the major issues discussed about project management, as well as the issues related to project life cycle. In this class, we are going to see in the first chapter, we are going to see the introduction. What do we mean by project? The first is project is a widely used what we call terms, yes, in modern world. It's a term used in modern world. In this case, a project is predetermined activities that is defined in beginning and an end of to achieve unique goal. That means when there was a project, there is what we call a unique goal. A project had what we call set of activities. Yes, when we talk about a project, we need to talk about set of activities here, such as planning. Yes, for example, those activities involves of planning of those projects, and what we call preparing of what is expected, resources, for example, it might be land, yes. Therefore, for accomplishment of those specific goals, we need to have what we call a plan. But the major concept that we are going to see in project management is we can define in different ways based on their what we call uses. The first one, project is a temporary endeavor of undertaken to create what we call unique product or service or the result. Whereas when we see the second definition, it is temporary nature in the sense of that it is predetermined and set of activities to definite beginning and definite end. That means when you talk about a project, there is what we call a beginning of the project as well as end. Yes, this is what we are going to see. When we talk about project is unique, yes. That means some kinds of project may be dependent on producing of product. Some kinds of projects are uses for delivering services. That means they depend on different kinds of characteristics or outputs. The other thing, there are various activities or different activities undertaken in organization. Therefore, depending on their activities, we can classify projects. Therefore, project can be defined as we have seen. Yes. But here, when we talk about project, we have to also discuss about the project management. Before dealing to about project management definitions, we are going to see, for example, Project Management Institute. What does it mean? According to this institute, or a definition which was given for project is, it is undertaken to create unique product or service. According to this definition, Project Management Institute, they have tried to define project is, this is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create unique, what we call product or service. For example, according to those Project Management Institute, they've said project include maybe constraints are there. Project may consist of risks. Project may consist of schedules to performance of outcomes. Yes. The second definition or concept is a concept which was given by Qatar, what you call Management Institute. Qatar Management Institute defines a project is an activity that has beginning and the end, which is carried out to achieve particular purpose as well as quality within the given constraints. A project is what we call non-routine activity. Yes, other definition. The first one, it is said project is what we call an activity according to those definitions. The second one, it is conducted by organization or individuals to achieve specific goals. Yes, that means in project there's what we call goals. When we see the size of a project, if we see this concept is, we are going to see the size of a project. Depending on different characteristics, we can classify depending on their size. We can say projects can be small size projects are there. There are what we call large projects are there. As well as we can say there is simple projects are there, as well as there is complex types of projects are there. But depending on their based on various parameters, such as these parameters might be size. Yes, size is one parameters. Depending on size. Depending on nature, we can also classify a project here. Depending on nature, we can also classify a project. For example, we can say industrial, as well as we can say non-industrial. Therefore, when we talk about what we call industries, may involve of different kinds of industries. Irrespective of type, all projects consist of a number of activities. Therefore, if we define these parameters, the second topic that we are going to see is characteristics of projects. What are the major characteristics of projects? Every project has what we call unit goal, yes, and intended to serve some specific objective for organizations, yes. For example, they do have different scope, yes. Maybe we can see their scope. We can see time they are involved and resource required, yes, for accomplishment of the goal. When we see generally the characteristics of a project, we can see projects have what you call specific objectives, yes, depending on their specific purpose. This is one. The second one is what you call uniqueness, yes, uniqueness. Projects depending on their uniqueness. The third one depending on their life cycle, yes, the cycle that they are going to undertake. Therefore, there are different what you call procedures. For example, when we talk about a specific purpose of a project, we can say a project is undertaken to accomplish certain specific goals. Yes, that means what are the major goals that was intended to achieve. The second one, uniqueness. That means all projects are unique in terms of their what you call uniqueness is maybe involves of the scope. Uniqueness may involve of the objectives. Yes, uniqueness may involve of the technology that the project uses. Yes, whereas when we come to the project or what you call life cycle, it begins with idea generation. What is the project was intended to do, and documented, and the plan will be achieved. Therefore, if we see in this one, primarily as introduction, we are going to see about the life cycle of a project. As I've said, projects has life cycles. Those life cycles might be looked like these kinds of things. Maybe you can see from your handout. The first one is we can see the stage of idea generation. Yes, what is idea of the project? Yes, if there was idea, we are going to just implement those ideas by making what? Plans. Yes, plans are there. Yes. After a planning, there is what we call execution. That means implementation. Yes. Depending on our plans, we are going to execute those plans. Therefore, there is, after implementation, there is termination of what? The project. Yes. Termination means whether the project may terminate due to different factors. For example, by achieving the intended what? Goals. Yes. Therefore, when we say about project cycle, it stands from idea generation, planning, execution or implementation, and leads to what? Termination. That's what you call it. But the major thing that we are going to see in this chapter, if we define project cycle, and what is the major differences as well as similarities between project cycle as well as project what you call process. As discussed earlier, project passes through what? Different phases. When you talk about projects faces different phases. For example, project requires a number of what? Steps. activities to be performed in logical what? Sequences. These logical sequences of activities is a project is known as project life cycle. The sequence in which project comes across is termed as project life cycle or project cycle. When we talk about project life cycle, it is a logical sequence in activities aimed to accomplishing what you call specific project goals or objective. Therefore, when we talk about project life cycle, it may involve from initiation or idea generation, planning, execution, as well as controlling or what we call termination are there. When we talk about initiation, for example, when we talk about initiation, it is the first step, yes? It is the first step or phase of project life cycle. That means when we talk about initiation, it is what we call the first step. That means you can see initiation is the first step. And therefore, after initiation, it proceeds to what we call planning. What we plan will be what? As we have said previously, it will be executed and controlled as well as terminated. As we have said, initiation is the first step. Planning is the phase involves of designing the course of action according to the scope of the project. Execution refers to what? Implementation, yes? And controlling is the phase involves of measuring and monitoring what we call controlling, in this case, what we haven't seen yet. Controlling refers to what? It may involve of measuring, yes, as well as monitoring of what we have done or what is the progress we have made. Progress. Therefore, control plays the role of execution of the project. The final one is termination or closing of the project is the thing that we are going to see. When we see about the efforts required to different phases of a project, we are going to see in percentile or by making some kinds of proportion for this. That means the efforts which are made, in what you call phase of project. When we talk about the project phases, there are efforts, as we have said. For example, initiation. Yes, initiation in this case, how many percent takes from the total percent of, we can say 100%. Yes. Therefore, the first one is what you call initiation. Initiation takes what you call how many percent. It maybe takes some kinds of percent. As well as planning takes percent or 4, as well as controlling takes 8%, as well as execution or implementation takes 85% of the total implementation of the project phase. Therefore, if you have seen those steps, let me proceed to the next point. Before proceeding to the next topic, what I'm going to tell you is that what is the importance of project, what is the definition of project, what are the cycles of project. And this, what you call class was prepared by Gelila International Seminary for the course called Project Management. And the project management course tried to discuss and cover about the project and project management as well as project life cycle and the implementation and what was stated in the course. Therefore, I hope you are clear what we have been coming through. The next one is the 7 stages of project. Yes, what you call the 7 stages of project. Stages of project. When you are undertaking a project, we can see the 7 stages. Maybe you can see from your materials that I'm going to provide you. The first one is identification. What we are going to see is identification of the project. That means in this identification stage, the first one, from those things, it is identification of the project. It is a stage of studying of what? The feasibility of the project. Identification involves of studying of the feasibility of the project. That means the idea selected out of several what? Alternative. When we select ideas, there are different kinds of alternative. From those alternative, we are going to identify and select the best. Yes. The second one is preparation. The second one is preparation. Preparation. At this stage, the selected what you call project area, what we've seen in the first topic, will be what? Analyzed, yes, in detail, and it is identified. It is what you call pros as well as what you call cons. The third stage is appraisal from those 7 stages. It is systematic and comprehensive evaluation for every aspect of selected, performed, what you call, of the project or final stage of the project. In this feasibility, what you call stage, it is a stage in which we are going to answer the following questions. The first question that we are going to answer is, the project financially feasible? Is that the project that we are going to undertake is feasible? The second one is, the project is technologically feasible? The third question that we are going to answer is, would the project yield enough returns? What is the degree of risk involved in the project? Because every project has what? Risks. Therefore, we are going to measure those risks. The fourth one is presentation of your projects, is the fourth stage. It is a detailed project plan is prepared and sent to what? Different stakeholders for approvals. That means there are internal stakeholders as well as, we can say in project, external stakeholders. In this case, in case of presentation, we are just dealing with external stakeholders. Therefore, the top management may accept or reject the idea of depending on effectiveness of what? The presentation. Therefore, this is the duty of the top managers, yes, to reject or accept the idea. The next one is monitoring, is the next step. It involves of assessing what you can, monitoring or progress, yes. We are identifying the progress of the project is what you call monitoring, yes. The monitoring stage is very crucial because of it prevents and corrects deviation from what? Original project plans. That means in case of monitoring, it helps for correction or corrective action, yes, as well as from making what? Deviations. Yes, this is what we have seen in monitoring. The final one, some scholars try to see monitoring and evaluation together. In this case, since we have said it's a 7, evaluation is the reassessment. Yes, it refers to reassessment of the project. Yes, of completion of the project. Therefore, this is the 7th stage that we are going to see. After defining this one, previously, if you have, what we have seen is, we have tried to look about resource. In this topic, we are going to see about project resource. Project resource. Every project effort needs resource to accomplish its goals. Therefore, this resource might be what? It may be help us to accomplish organizational project goal. That means not only we're not talking about, that means the resource must be what you call adequate, yes? That may refers to assets, maybe required carry out the project, maybe it involves of human resource, that means material, what you call human resource, maybe involves of equipment or physical facilities. Therefore, no project can be completed without what? Adequate resource. Therefore, in order to accomplish a project goal, we need to have what? Resources. These resources might be human resource. Yes? One. You may be involved of different kinds of resource. For example, you can say different kinds of assets. You can say materials. Yes? In the case of human resource, we will need what you call individuals or people. But here, when we talk about project resources, we can see resource or classifying in different pointers. The first one is storable resource. Storable resources are type of resources which is physically stored. Yes, it is termed as storable resource. The second one is non-storable, opposite of the first one. This is, for example, labor or human resource are termed as, we cannot store a person, yes? Therefore, we can see storable as well as non-storable resources. Without combination of those things, we cannot achieve organizational goal. Therefore, for existence of when we have what you call storable resource, those people need to what? Run. Without what you call storable resource, existence of storable resource have no value. Yes. Therefore, an organization can manage those resources. Yes. This resource is not simply misused. Therefore, there is a need of proper utilization of resources. Utilization of resources. When utilizing these resources, we are going to see 3 steps. The first one is resource scheduling. Yes. We have to just make schedule for using those resources. When and how. Yes. The second one is resource allocation. That means creating resources for different activities is called resource allocation. The third one is resource leveling. Yes. Source leveling is also effective utilization of those resources. That means resource optimization ensures resources are used effectively and efficiently in the project. Whether the resources are used efficiently as well as effectively. This is what to call resource leveling. Therefore, the 3 things that we are going to see when we are taking the following 3 steps: resource scheduling, that means involves of determining requirement for the resources employed for different activities. Resource allocation is involves of allocating resource for different activities of the project, and the resource leveling involves of utilization of a resource. The next topic is scope of a project. Actually, when we talk about the scope, we have seen previously under characteristics. Once the project idea is selected, there are different various projects such as project goal, project delivery of the project, requirement of the resource, the time required are finalized. This is what we call the scope of the project. Therefore, in case of we talking about the project, we are going to see whether the project is delivered or not. It's not. The second one is requirement of what? Resource is under. Our resource can determine the scope of what? Our project. The third one is period, or what we call time required to accomplish what? The resource. Therefore, our project is bounded by those things. Therefore, when we see those 3 things, we can classify scope of project in different ways. As I've said, deliverable means, for example, you can see the objective of what? The project. Yes. Whether the project is what? Achieved or not. The milestone, technical requirement, what we call constraint and the risks. For example, when you see about constraints, what are the constraints we encounter while just making the projects making? Project objective, as I've said, it is documenting the project scope. When we talk about delivery, we can talk about the project are explicitly mentioned in the scope. When we talk about, for example, milestone, the scope of project is clearly documented in this milestone. The technical, what we call requirement, is other scope. For example, documented scope. Technical requirement is other, what we call thing. Limit and exclusion are also constraint and risks. For example, when you talk about risk refers to what? Deviation from the expected what? Outcome is termed as risk. Therefore, if we see in this manner, for the introduction, we are going to see some major, what you call terms. For example, project character. Yes. After defining project character, we are going to proceed to the next chapter. Project character refers to formal document that mentions the various importance aspect of project. That means it refers to the formal document. The first one, it refers to being document. It's not simply a document, it is formal document. That is determine what? Different aspects of what? Projects. Different aspects of projects. For example, such as objectives, such as deliverable objectives of the project. Therefore, a generic project, or what we call project character, we are going to see the following pointers. Therefore, when we talk about generic project characteristics, it may involve of the following information. For example, what are the requirements? The first one is the title and description of the project, name of the project that you are going to undertake, authority or the person responsible for the project, what is the need of the project, requirement of the resource to accomplish the project, key stakeholders, whether in the internal or external stakeholders, key deliverable projects at the end of the day, project objectives, requirement of the project approval, as well as key risks, as well as there was a signature of what we call the authority of the project manager. Therefore, in the elements of project character, we can see different kinds of. We can see the scope, we can see the objective, we can see the measurements, we can see the assumptions, we can see the project manager or authority, we can see the major participants. The major participant, in this case, we can say external stakeholders or what? Internal stakeholders. Therefore, project character has legal basis for what? A project. The final point that we are going to in this structure is project cost. Every project has what? Cost. In order to complete what? An organizational or a project goal. For example, just hire personnel to purchase raw materials, equipment, machines, and so on. Therefore, a cost project is used for implementing such things. For procure all these resources, all organization needs what? Incur costs. That means they require some kinds of costs. There are two types of costs here when we talk about project costs. When we talk about project costs, we are going to indirect costs as well as direct costs. Indirect costs involves of overhead costs such as supervision, administration, construction, interests, and other charges. Whether indirect costs refers to the cost of labor, material, and equipment are termed as the major costs. Therefore, the total cost of projects is incurred by various heads. For example, land and site development, its needs maybe for building or civil workers, for plant machinery, technical know-how, expenses and technicians, and so on. This is the major thing that we have seen. Therefore, the first chapter tries to see what you have seen, all these things. Therefore, we are going to proceed to the second chapter. Before proceeding to the second chapter, what we have been looking here is all about the project definition, types of project, the characteristics of project, scope of project, and so on. And therefore, if you don't have any questions, we are going to proceed to the second chapter. Before proceeding to the second chapter, this course, Project Management, was prepared for you by Gelila International Seminary for the course Project Management. And this course tries to discuss about the project management and tries to discuss about overall about project management cycle, and so on. And let me come to discuss to the second chapter, understanding project management. Dear student, previously we have tried to look the first chapter, and now we are going to see what is project management. Project management was derived from two terms, the project as well as the management. Therefore, project management tries to describe what we call budgeting, planning, resource management, and the skills to in completion of what? The project. Therefore, project management. In this case, there is what we call a science which requires or a discipline of budgeting, planning, and allocating resource and management skills to ensure of completion of what? The project. As the name suggests, project management deals with subject of successful what? Management projects. Overall managing of what? The project. Other thing that we are going to see under project management is it incorporates standard what? Practices. Yes. And not only practices, also what? Procedures to implement those projects in activities of the project. Yes, this is what we call project management. As we have said, project management was derived from two terms, project as well as management. Yes. Project management, execution of what? Knowledge. When you talk about project management, main involves of execution of knowledge, yes, as well as main involves of competency. The main involves of equipment to fulfill what? The requirement of the project. As we've seen, a project might be small or big. Yes? Whether it's small or big, it needs what? Management of a project. Therefore, project management, what is the requirement or what is the need of having project management? The first one is, we are going to accomplish what? The goal or objective of the project. The second one, it stands for meeting the global demand for goods as well as services. It may involve of expanding the business with better returns. It may help us for enhancing performance of a project. It may involve for managing budget as per project plan. It may involve of utilizing resource for better outcomes. Previously in the first chapter, we have tried to look about project management institute of defining what we call project. In this case, Project Management Institute defines project management as a discipline of planning, for example, organizing, managing what? Resources. Not only managing. For what? For successful completion of what? The specific goals and objective of the project. Other thing which was tried to define, I also tried to define project management as says is a unique process consisting of a set of coordinated and controlled activities with the start and finish what? Dates, according to those ISO 10006 definition. A person who runs the project management is termed as what? Project manager. Therefore, a project manager is responsible for defining what? The goal and objective of the project. Therefore, project management provides systematic, rational approach. For project management needs systematic as well as rational approach. Systematic approach as well as rational approach. To sum up the key characteristics of those project management enables project managers to successful completion of the projects. It enables for applied practices, initiating, planning, executing of the project. It enables develop projects terms of successful completion of the project, complete project with certain accomplishment. The next one is objective of project management. Objective of project management, when you talk about objective of project management has different objectives depending on their characteristics. We can see the different kinds characteristics of objectives of a project. The first is what you call cost control. That means we are going to control our cost. The second one is what you call under this chapter inspection. We are going to inspect what we are doing. Yes. The third one is reporting of the project. Optimization. You can see from your handout. Yes. Suppliers are also there. Planning are the major objectives of project management. If we see those key objectives of project management, what are the key objective project management is? The first one is the project timely, what you call achieved or completed? Is the first question that we are going to answer. Therefore, this chapter tries to discuss about the project management. The next one is advantage of project management. Maybe project has different advantage as well as different disadvantage. From those advantages, we can see the improved coordination among resource and used, reduced risks, and so on. But before summarizing, as I've told you, the second chapter tries to discuss about project management. I hope you are clear what you have been coming across. This course was prepared by Gelila International Seminary for the course called Project Management. The final topic for this chapter is Principle of Project Management. There are different principles of project management. Principle of a business and commitment is the first principle. Principle of project success, principle of project strategy, principle of team building is other thing, principle of assessment, principle of documentation of the project, principle of satisfaction, and principle of proactive principle are the major thing that we are going to see under this chapter. I hope we are going to summarize the chapter, but before summarizing, the project management has scope. As we have seen in the first chapter, the project life cycle, there is initiation, there is scope planning, there is scope definition, there is scope verification, as well as scope change control. This is what you have seen. Finally, the thing that we are going to see is framework of a project. When we see a framework of a project, we are going to see 4 points and summarize. The first one is identifying the key steps of project activity. The second one is we have to estimate the required time of each task. The third one, updating the document containing the project. The fourth one is tracking the progress of the activities by monitoring and evaluation. Therefore, I hope you are clear with this one. I am going to summarize what you have been discussing. In the first chapter, we have tried to look the introduction, project life cycle, as well as the scope and characteristics. In the second chapter, we have tried to look about project management, definition, objective, scope, the principle of project management, the importance of project management, and so on. Therefore, I hope you are clear with what we have discussed. And next time, we are going to discuss the third chapter. If you have any question, you can ask. And this course was prepared by Gelila International Seminary called Project Management. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you in the second class, and have a good time. Thank you a lot.